Well, Artful Dodger from Charles Dickens' Oliver Twist, and this is 15 years after the end of the novel, and the Dodger is now a very brilliant surgeon living in the colonies, and Fagin, who I play, arrives on a convict ship and tries to lure Dodger back into the old criminal ways. That's the story.
So The Artful Dodger is a series based in the 1850s following Jack Dawkins, and it's about him trying to start a new life but constantly being drawn back into his past ways. And my role is Dr. Rainsford Sneed. He's a devout doctor who doesn't mess around. He's blunt, he's political, he's witty, and he's kind of one of Dodger's rivals throughout the show. There's a real insecurity of Dodger for my character, and that leads to some pretty horrible places. I think my character's moral compass gets left behind in the pursuit of getting Dodger out of town.
An interesting twist on really Jack Dawkins instead of Oliver Twist, so it focused on Jack Dawkins. I don't know how much we can talk about the storyline without ruining it, but him being in Australia and then sort of Fagin catching up with him, and my family that run the colony. And I play Lady Jane Fox, and I have 2 daughters, and my husband's the governor, and he's a bit hapless and not so bright. So what I love about it is Lady Jane actually runs the colony, but doesn't get any, but is happy to be in the background, as a lot of the women were back then.
The Artful Dodger is about the Artful Dodger character from the Oliver Twist story. It's now 15 years later. He's 28 years old. He's living in Australia and working as quite a brilliant surgeon in the early days of surgery. And he thinks he's left behind that life of pickpocketing and crime, and nobody knows that he had that life in his past until Fagin turns up again, and he's been transported out to Australia as a criminal. He turns up in Dodger's life and turns everything upside down. I play Captain Gaines, who is the lawman of the town. He's essentially the chief of police of the colony, the governor's right-hand man, and he sort of rules the place. It's not really carrot and stick, it's only stick. He's a pretty cruel guy. It's a lot of fun to play.
So the show is, I think, quite different to what we expect of like an Oliver Twist spin-off. It feels quite wild and unruly and lawless. And within that, there's a lot of sort of blood and gore and violence, and it's a bit saucy, and it's like the wild, wild west in a way. So I play Peggy Gaines, who is married to this guy, married to Damon's character, and having a bit of a saucy interlude with Tim's character. So it was a lot of fun. I had a delightful time. I got to play with incredible actors and with an incredible script, with incredible directors. So I think it might be a special one.
Well, The Artful Dodger's this incredible, rambling, mad, glorious Dickensian reimagining of one of literature's great sort of dodgy characters set in 1850s Australia. And when I heard about that it was being made, I was like, why aren't I in this show? And there was mostly cast, and I kind of got hold of the producers because I'm spoiled and I can do that. And I'm like, why aren't I in this show? And they're like, what do you mean? You want to be in... I'm like, yeah, anything. Like, just give me... Anyway, then they, of course, had to be serious about it and see if there was an actual role that I could play. And they offered me this bad dude, and I'm like, yeah, definitely. It just felt like a world that I would love to be a part of, and I was right, because it was joyous from beginning to end. So my character's name's Darius, and he's the harbour master of this colonial town, and but he's dodgy as hell, and he cheats at cards, and he's always scamming everyone, and he's a massive threat to the Dodger from very early on. In fact, the first scene of the whole movie is my character cheating the Dodger and then coming after him, and so the early threat, really serious threat to Jack, to the Dodger, is my character and his henchman.
I play Red, and I'm a badass bushranger, basically. Yeah, very cool. It's not anything I've ever really played before. I've often been characters that are, effervescent and likeable, and Red does not care about that at all. So it's exciting to be able to be challenged by that and play someone who breaks the rules.
I play Governor Fox, who's governor of the colony, and he's not very good at his job, but he tries his best. And he's got a very strong wife and his family that he loves very much and tries to take care of. But he's a man of the times, and he's a bit of a bumbler, but a heart of gold.
The Artful Dodger is a wacky crime medical show, 8 episodes. My character is kind of in her own TV series, more like a Jane Austen world. Polar opposite to Belle and Dodger, likes to have tea parties and is hoping to find a man. It's just the one thing that I am hoping to get.
I play the head surgeon of the hospital, and I'm an early practitioner of surgery, which is a very brand new science, and a new art, if you like, because it involves the knife, and the idea of the knife being a means of healing. But it was pretty clumsy in the early days, and that's where we are. And so I'm the head of the hospital where young Jack comes in and works his way up, and then becomes one of the best surgeons that we have.
Amazing.
Because he's got incredible hands, and he does. You know, he can cut really beautifully, and so. And of course, it comes off the back of the Dickens story and takes up where the story finished. So that's the conceit of the piece, that it's a bubble on.
Whoa, there's so many, because I've enjoyed myself so very much on this, more than most things I've ever done. I think one of my most beautiful memories is the day we shot right by the sea, doing a very lovely scene of a duel. And the whole cast were there, and it felt like a day out, and I reminded myself how very lucky I am to do the job I do, and travel the world and work with beautiful people and be silly.
One of my most memorable moments was probably shooting the surgery scenes. There was one surgery scene where I actually got to stitch up the prosthetic skin, and it was the closest I've ever felt to being a real doctor and making my parents proud, you know what I mean? But yeah, no, they had really realistic body parts, and they had a doctor on set that allowed us to know exactly what the technique would be. So yeah.
Oh God, I have so many memorable moments. I think any of the dinner party scenes I just loved. I also loved when the carriages turned up, when there was a new suitor for my daughter. I think that. That was really funny and interesting, and yeah.
One that comes to mind, actually, in one episode, my character Captain Gaines is taking Fagin to be hanged. Now, I'm not saying if he ends up succeeding, I'm not giving any spoilers, but it was a lovely, beautifully written scene, and it was a one-on-one scene with David Thewlis, who, as I said, such a big fan of. So that's one of my favourite moments, to actually have a two-hander with him.
I would say when Tim and I had a bit of a saucy scene that involved Thomas and David interrupting. That was fun. In every sense, that was fun.
Just working with actors of the calibre I got to work with David and Damon Herriman, and I didn't get to act much with Maya and Thomas, but it's so cool to be on set, like doing these little scenes with these incredible actors and incredible directors. So I just think every job I do I get to learn more, and that's the thing that gives me the biggest thrill.
Actually, this is such a bad story. I basically said to Algin, who plays Flashbang, I was like, I do not accept anyone who leaves their phone on loud, unacceptable. You can't even put it on silent. I will not handle the vibrate, and my phone was on silent, and it was so embarrassing. And Alden was like, did you just break your own rules? And I was like, I may have. I wanted the ground to eat me up.
When the governor got drunk with Damon Herriman's character and had a bit of a sing-song.
I think it was a big moment for me playing the harp in front of a whole bunch of crew on my first day of filming. That was pretty terrifying, but oh god, it was all of it. It was pretty good.
Do you play the harp?
No, I had to learn. I had like a doddery old lady who was amazing, who's super experienced, but yeah.
Because it's brilliant, and it really, and I say that in all sincerity. I'm not just here. Of course, I'm here to make people watch it and sell it, but more than most things I've ever done in 40 years, this is one of my very favourite things. If not that, my very favourite thing. I adore it. It's had brilliant reviews. Everyone's is fantastic in it, and if I wasn't in it, I would still watch it over and over.
Audiences should watch The Artful Dodger because we've never seen a traditional period piece like this. You know, it's disruptive, it's rebellious, it's risky, it's vibrant, and it has a wonderful chaos about it with the gritty surgeries and the high action heists, but also a really wonderful, heartwarming story about redemption and reinvention and love.
Well, I think as well it's a story of not just kind of like historically to check out what went down back then, but it's a love story as well. And it's like a feminist tale, and it's got modern twists of editing and the soundtrack, and yeah, I think as well it's a real love story.
Because they're going to have a great time. It's honestly got everything in there. It's like it's a bit of a caper, it's a bit of an adventure show, it's a bit of a rom-com. It's fun, it's scary, it's a bit dark occasionally. You can watch it with your kids. You know, it's not you know, for just for grown-ups. I think it's got something for everybody in there. It's a lot of fun.
I think audiences should watch The Artful Dodger because it's exactly what we need to see. It is exciting and juicy and action-packed, and I would watch it. And you know what, I don't say that about all of the work that I do. I really don't, but this is something that I would watch and really enjoy because it's fresh and it's alive.
Well, audience should watch Artful Dodger because it's just one of the best, most fun, heartfelt, gorgeous, hilarious, ridiculous Australian TV shows ever made.
Everyone should watch The Artful Dodger because it's just a wild ride. It's fun, and the characters are cheeky, and like obviously, well, I don't know. I love watching Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol, so I feel like it's come around at a very kind of Dickensian time where everyone's sort of thinking about, you know, just the people who really need the help and the resources. And this is a story about people who don't wait for that.
Because it'll be great fun. Yeah, I think that's it's fast, there's action, there's drama, there's comedy, and I think everyone can sit down and then just enjoy themselves.
Because I said so. Lady Fanny said so. I think we need a bit of light entertainment at the moment. I think it's a really unique world. There's nothing else like it. And I think it's exactly what people need, a bit of heart and comedy and a bunch of crazy talent.
It's a good question that I'm not sure I can answer at the moment. Being a good actor, I suppose, is quite an artful thing to do, and you know, it takes a bit of agility and dexterity.
Good question. What makes me artful? Maybe my ability to smoke bomb out of certain situations. You know, like if there's a party and it's not really a vibe, I can sneak out and no one would know.
Trying to do like 17 burpees in under a minute. I tried to do that this morning. I got to 13.
I don't know if I am artful. Why are you making an assumption that I'm artful? I'm completely without art. I do not know how to answer that question. What makes me artful? I'm gonna have to pass because I don't know if I fall into the category of artful. I may be artless. Let's go with that.
Yeah, I don't know. Give me a champagne and we'll see how it goes.
I think I've got fast fingers.
Ooh, that's such an interesting question. I guess what makes me artful is being someone who is very good at winging it, who shows up and does the job.
Bad childhood, I don't know.
Everything. No, I like to draw, and I do poems, so I write poems, so there's quite a few things.
My use of the knife, I think he sees as its great kind of performance art.
Maybe can't say the word in the title.
Let's do cold hard B word. Cold hard B word. We're gonna go with that one.
That or Joker and the Thief.
Yeah,
That covers the
yeah, that
title.
exactly.
Yeah.
Perfect.
The last thing I artfully dodged, oh my goodness me. I artfully dodge returning phone calls, I suppose, sometimes by giving good excuses as to why I didn't return the call. Now people are going to see that, who I didn't call back, and go, that's what he's doing. I shouldn't have said that.
I've artfully dodged ever needing a plan B in my life, which I'm very proud of. But I'm constantly asked the question, what's your plan B? I'm like, just stay with me, all right? I got this, I promise you. So yeah, that would be me.
University. That's a good one. Education to be musicians.
Dying. That's true, actually. I was in a big gas explosion when I was 14. I've dodged like funnel web spider bites. I've dodged car accidents. Yeah, probably shouldn't have asked me that.
Oh God, men my whole life. I constantly, consistently, I would say that.
Oh, I nearly had an accident the other day in the car, so I dodged a red car. That's all I can tell you.
It's a secret.